Hey guys, Lex here, back for some more of The Great Ace Attorney. Last time, we started a trial, and now we're going to get new witnesses. Let's go! 23rd of October, 10:44 a.m., the Old Bailey's Antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo, what on earth were you playing at just now? Or rather, what on earth were you playing at all along? My hypothesis, my amazing hypothesis, you've been picking holes in it from the start. Sorry about that. But you promised me. You said you'd prove that dreaded explosion was an accident, not murder. You said you'd keep my precious invention from falling into anyone else's hands. But all you've done so far is try to undermine me. Yes, I did make you a promise, you're right. I said that I'd believe in you and fight for your freedom to the very end. But I also told you I was no scientist. I don't understand your hypothesis. The fact is, there's an undeniable flaw in your logic, isn't there? But if I just run through some equations... Yes, you see, it's because my work is incomplete. Perhaps it is, and nevertheless, a man died as a consequence, didn't he? Oh. Oh no! You're right. You're so right. It's all my fault. And I have no right to blame you for my failures. I'm a disaster, not just a scientist, but as a human being. Well, that might be a little over the top. And while we're on the subject, what about Barrock? He's being awful. Claiming his old university friend to be a murderer, you mean? He's a disaster, not just as a prosecutor, but as a human being. Oh, but no, wait, he's the Reaper, isn't he? Perhaps he's not classified as Homo sapiens anymore. Glad that's cleared up. Can I double check something with you? Yes, what? The machine and the demonstration you prepared, they were based entirely on your hypothesis, I presume? There was no trickery involved? I drew the plans for the machine with my very own hands. Every line was painstakingly drawn with the firm belief that science is the only future. So yes, it's true that my hypothesis hasn't reached maturity yet, but please, Mr. Naruhodo, you must believe in it. Alright, Professor. I understand. Counsel, defendant. The prosecution's witnesses are ready to take the stand. Court is now about to be in session again. Make your way into the courtroom, please. Okay. It all hinges on the demonstration. If the professor's hypothesis is sound as he claims, it leaves him as the only person who could possibly have killed the victim. But on the other hand, Mr. Sholmes was adamant. Practical implementation, such as was attempted by the professor at the Great Exhibition, is quite impossible. So really, what should I be trying to prove here? "23rd of October, 11 o'clock a.m., the Old Bailey Courtroom. On time! In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready for the new witness to testify? Prosecution is ready, my lord. As is defense, my lord. So, Lord Vanagix, believe the next witnesses saw the demonstration of the day in question with their very own eyes. Indeed they did. And as luck would have it, one of them is a police detective. So the testimony we are about to hear can be considered highly reliable. Perfect. Detective of all people. Prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Though it ended in tragedy, the demonstration on the day in question was scientifically sound. And consequently, the sole person with the opportunity to have committed this act of murder is the only other individual to have been present on the stage at the time, the accused. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's position is clear. So bring forth your witnesses now. Bailiff, show the witnesses in. The witnesses whose proximity to the incident on the day in question will clarify the truth unequivocally. One's gonna be like assassin and murderer. Oh my god! Hey! Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court to hear. My name is Balthazar Lune. Like balloon? I am the impresario of all the hot air balloons in the vicinity of the experimento stage.
My name is Wilhelm Gordonstreet Suchman Ormenstein. I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. I'm very rich. Inspector Gina Lestrade, Scotland Yard. I'm a great detective, even Iraq Shelms agrees. I was currently on security duty at the exhibition and I got to go up to one of them balloons. It was amazing.
Gina, again? But she did mention she'd seen the disaster from up in the balloon actually, didn't she? She clearly loved every minute of it. There were 3 balloons flying near the public experimentation stage when the incident occurred. 2 of these witnesses were in one such balloon at the time, and saw events unfold from the skies above. Like it sounded like we were in the clouds. It was only around to the circa 60 feet. Very low.
Well, you can't see nothing if you fly too high, can you?
60 feet. About 18 meters then. Thank you for the introductions. Now you will give your formal testimony to the court. Kindly describe exactly what you witnessed, especially those of you who had a vantage point above the stage. Already forgot how they voiced the kid. The view from 60 feet up. You French?
It was an incident terrible. I am only grateful that my balloons were not damaged.
There's this huge bang from the stage, and then the next second, another bang from the sky beside us. And from the mountain smoke, a cage appeared out of nowhere.
The cage, it fell from the sky like a stone and crashed into the crystal tower.
I didn't get a good look inside the cage, but no one went near it after the crash into the tower.
Oh god, these voices. I don't like
A most extraordinary collective account, I must say.
Could I just clarify something? There's a detail in the witness testimony that I've not heard any mention of until now. Specifically that there were 2 explosions.
More precisely, 2 explosions in 2 separate places, yes.
Is it the crossbow?
When the demonstration began, the balloon carrying the 2 witnesses was around here. There were other balloons in the air nearby at the time, carrying other passengers as well, to be clear. Then, as the power supplied to the machine for the demonstration, the first explosion occurred. The so-called bird cage that contained the victim disappeared from the cage, and a moment later, the second explosion occurred directly adjacent to the balloon carrying the witness. The bird cage appeared at the site of the explosion, subsequently to plummet down into the crystal tower.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I was very surprised. Suddenly a cage appeared before my eyes, a person inside. The blast was so hot, but I didn't want to miss a thing, so kept my eyes wide. How many balloons are you gonna get? I still have lots of money.
Yeah.
Oh. Precisely who is this curious infant? I'm told he is a young noble of a Bohemian royalty. Apparently he disguised himself in order to steal unnoticed into the great exhibition.
Yeah, I am here in London on a sightseeing trip with my elementary school.
Very well. I have the benefit of the child's point of view in the testimony. Do we really need that?
When I remove my mask, this is what I look like.
Oh, yes, I see. Delightful face, I'm sure.
Yeah, everybody says so.
Great disguise then. The point is, the testimony of these witnesses further substantiates the facts for the court. Namely, that despite ending in an explosion, instantaneous kinesis was successfully demonstrated. And furthermore, that until the arrival of the police, no one approached the Crystal Tower where the victim fell. Therefore, only the accused, who was with Mr. Asman on stage, could possibly have committed the murder. Thank you, counsel. The prosecution's view on the matter are quite clear. So did the balloon explode because of the thing? Were people inside the balloon? Would they have died too? So, the defense's cross-examination now, please. Yes, my lord. Getting more questions. The view from the 60 feet up. It was in... I already forgot how to voice. There were 3 balloons flying above the experimentation stage at the time, I understand. Jeez. Oh, he's Spanish. I can't do Spanish. Spain Spanish. He's Italian. Si, all 3 of them, my bellissimi bambini. They were all very popular, signor. Some people will pay £10 for one ride.
£10?
That's more than my annual stipend.
£20 a month, that is my pocket money.
Royals have all the luck.
I got up there for free, I did. Played the old I work for Her Majesty's police card, you know.
Detectives have all the luck. Not Gumshoe. They're so popular, why would you only be operating such a small number of balloons, though? Because if I had too many in the skies, they could crash into each other. The operators for the balloons were decided by lots, with each operator manning a particular area. C and the zone above public experimentation stage is the most profitable. And the other impresarios, they hate me. Thank you, witness. I think the court has a clear picture of the arrangement for balloon rides at the exhibition. Perhaps we could hear more about what you actually witnessed of the incident.
Right, I can fill you there, my lord. There's this huge banging stage, blah 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 blah, bang 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 bang.
So you actually saw the accident happen from up in the air?
Yep, ain't it amazing what a detective gets to do, eh? I'm telling you, Odo, being a lawyer's a mug game. You should join the force and we can go flying together.
Know me so well. Yes, well anyway, could you tell us exactly what you saw, do you think?
Everything. We saw everything because we were up above it all. That dodgy cove climbing into that cage, and that dodgy professor pulling all them levers. And that's what had happened. That's when there was that massive bang and the cage disappeared just like that.
You were describing the moment the subject's body was decomposed by electricity, I believe.
I didn't know what to make of it. Then there was another bang right in me. I looked around and there was a huge great fireball right next to us in the sky, and there was nothing there before.
That's how he sounds.
Excuse me.
Mr. Gotts, does your memory of that day differ?
My teacher at the elementary school said that you meet someone for the first time. You should always use the full name.
Yes, what was it again?
Wilhelm Gottschmidt Sigismund Ormstein.
Just the 4 names then? Point is, do you have something to say? Something to add to the response to Detective Gina Lestrade's last remark, perhaps?
Oh, I get it right, Otto. It's Inspector Lestrade.
Why does everyone have a problem with how I dress them at the moment?
That is not what I saw.
Oh?
Yeah, there was a second explosion and it was right beside our balloons, that is true. But I'm sure. Watch is what I said in it. 1 minute there was nothing, then there was a massive explosion. My teacher at elementary school said that when someone else is speaking, if you are rude enough to interrupt, you will have the most awful life imaginable.
Are all Bohemians brought up to be so full of joy? Man, a gold coin.
Just before the second explosion happened next to our balloon, I clearly witnessed green balloon flying in the sky.
A green balloon?
You what? I never saw something like that. Well, I did, I saw it. And you can't say I didn't. I will complain to the council. I will cry and scream. My testimony is the truth. I am Bohemian's prince. You cannot say it a lie. That is not allowed.
Playing the beaten royalty god, are you? Typical. This is the orphan who likes to remind people that she works for Her Majesty's police. In that case, young man, I'm asking you to amend your formal testimony in the interest of cordial national relations between Great Britain and Bohemia.
It was not the sky that exploded, it was a green balloon that was next to ours at the time.
Okay, and do I have something to present? Do I just present this? I'll save it. Let me press it again. Green balloon, you say. Are you sure about that?
Of course I am sure. I am proud Bohemian prince. All these questions are making me boring.
I think you mean bored.
English is very annoying. The language of my countrymen is far superior.
Ragazzo, it is very wrong to lie. Flying balloons never explode. For the same reason the planets never explode. It is logical.
Please tell me that doesn't mean logical.
If you insult me, you insult all Bohemia.
Madai.
I will have the army come and shoot all of your stupid balloons out of the sky, all of them.
Here you are, your highness.
Only all international incidents were so easily resolved.
Now that peaceful relations have been restored here in the courtroom, perhaps we could return to the testimony. Did you also see the moment that the cage materialized, Mr. Lune? No, I did not see the esplosione myself, however. Cage fell in the sky like a stone.
Hold it! Did you see that actually happen?
No, in reality I did not. I saw after it hit the tower. There was a grand confusion around the stage. I ran to see what had happened. I was terrorized by the idea that one of my balloons had crashed. I suppose they all are his livelihood. But when I looked up at the sky, all my precious balloons were still there.
Oh, so they didn't explode.
I saw it though. I saw it slam into the tower after all. I am a detective now.
Then tell us what you saw, Inspector Lestrade.
That's what I like to hear.
Was it you who gave the order to keep people away?
Eh? Use your head, Otto. I would have been me. I was up in the balloon, weren't I?
Right.
So, because I wasn't available, it was one of the boss who had to leg it over. He was getting shoved and kicked all over by the panicking spectators as he tried to seal off the scene. It was a real sight to behold, I can tell you. Amazing!
Poor Inspector Griggs.
So anyway, I couldn't see the cage all that well because of all the smoke. I didn't really want to see it, to be honest. I was scared out of my wits.
Keep it together, Inspector. The prosecutor really is asserting that the demonstration was genuine. But what if it actually was some kind of switch-around trick instead? That would mean the victim was never actually on the stage in the first place. Then, the 2 explosions would have thrown everyone watching into a panic for sure. I think I need to find out more about what exactly people saw at the time. So, he was in the balloon. The victim was in the balloon. It exploded, and then something happened. Should I just present the green thing here? It doesn't seem to be wrong, but let's see. Now let's try.
Objection!
No, damn it. Come on, skip through this room, whatever, all over the blah 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 blah. Okay. We need to think. Ah.
Objection!
So it was that. Damn it. Mr. Lune, in your testimony, you said that all 3 of your balloons you had operating at the time were undamaged? See, that is correct. If that had been caught in the explosiones, it would have been terrible. I wonder if you might know what this is. Ah, I think it may be... See, part of a balloon, a burnt piece of fabric of the envelope. Sorry, the envelope? Pardon. That is a large round part of the balloon in which becomes filled with hot air. It is made from very thick fabric, lined with rubber. You do not want to rip it when you are in the sky. Just as I thought. This piece of fabric was found near the experimentation stage. In other words, as Master Gods testified, the green balloon did explode that day. Okay. If all the balloons in the sky above the experimentation stage belong to you, Mr. Lune, your statement that they were all undamaged clearly contradicts the evidence. No! Huh. So, I wasn't confused. If a balloon exploded that day, why didn't the man say so? Maybe it's not everyone on board that was killed. No, having to spend all 10 whole pounds for expense, how awful. Seems to me that those things crash 50% of the time anyway.
Objection!
The instantaneous kinesis did occur, but after the explosion on the stage. The point of materialization shifted to a location occupied by a balloon. Causing the balloon to explode? Yes, eminently plausible. An unfortunate traffic accident, as it were, but it changes nothing about the pertinent facts. Hold it! This I cannot accept. Why not, Mr. Lune? You are suggesting that I am a liar. That persons died in balloon incidente. There is no need to get fired up, Mr. Lune. The victim was the sole fatality that day. That's right, and I prove it. Balthazar Lune is not a liar. There was no such balloon in the sky. It is non possible. You're saying it's impossible? Why? This court has more important matters to discuss than the number of balloons that were operating that day.
Objection!
But we can't ignore the fact that nobody appears to have known anything about this other balloon until now. My lord. The defense calls for further testimony from Mr. Lune. Yeah. I concur. There is clearly more to the truth here than meets the eye. It is imperative that we clear up the issue of this phantom balloon, I feel. Witness, you will give supplementary testimony about the balloons you were experimenting at the exhibition. Ah, grazie, my lord. Mr. Lune's balloons. Wait, I want to check one thing. People. Odie Osman, Masked Man. Reform Pickpocket. Zelda to Emperor, sorry, Empress. impresario of a short pleasure voyages. Bohemian boy. I wanted his name. Damn it. As I said, Balthazar Lune is no liar. Every balloon I had in the sky landed safely. All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground in an esplosione, what a catastrophe.
But you can't get away from the fact the burnt up bits of cloth that's found at the scene, can you? The coppers at the yard reckon it was probably some debris from the explosion on stage.
That stupid ragazzo is mistaken. My balloons have the red and blue zigzag stripes anyway. So your assertion is that the balloon this child saw was not one belonging to you? Si, exactamente. If he even saw a balloon in the first place. I do not like the sound of it. It is very bad for business. I have no good mind to sue the land of Bohemia.
If you attack us, we will fight back. It will be war all out war. Balloon, please.
Oh, sure. What happened to all out war? Mr. Lune certainly does appear to be lying. But that doesn't change the fact that the testimony and evidence are contradictory here. If the defense is unable to find fault with the witnesses' statements, the court must consider them the truth. Think long and hard on that, my learned friend. The situation is clearly changed now. I have to get to the bottom of what happened here, no matter what it takes. Counsel, you may now cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examination, Mr. Lune's balloons.
Hold it!
You couldn't just have forgotten one, maybe? Senor. I might not notice if it was given 100 lentils and one was missing. But we are talking about 3 enormous balloons. Do you believe I could make a mistake about something so grand and expensive? I took the liberty of having Inspector Gretson check this gentleman's warehouse. I have the report here. It clearly says a total of 3 balloons. It would appear no mistake has been made then. Surely Miss Lestrade could have been sent for such a menial task.
What, me? I'll tell you what I told the boss. East End kids like me can only come out to do. Obviously that ain't true, but the boss wanted and said he'd have to go himself in that case.
All 3 of my balloons were carrying passengers. If they fell to the ground... Oh wait.
Hold it!
It would be quite a catastrophe if they fell to the ground for any reason, I think. On that note, Mr. Lune, tell me, what is it that keeps these balloons in the sky? Are you an idiota? Sorry, I am. It's like asking, why does a candle burn bright? It burns bright because it burns bright. And a balloon flies because it flies. What else? What? Huh? That must be Italian for I don't know. There are 2 types of flying balloons, hot air balloons and gas balloons. Hot air balloons work on the principle of hot air being less dense than cold air. Whereas balloons derive their lift by using gas that is lighter than air. See, and my balloons are filled with magic gas, I believe. Hydrogen, lighter than air, but highly explosive. Good lord! I do not permit smoking of the cigarettes in any of my balloons. The magic gas does not like fire. Even a small spark of static electricity could cause the entire balloon to explode. What is the matter with you, signore? All that comes from your mouth is esplosione, esplosione. I tell you my balloons are perfectly safe. They have to be or I cannot eat. None of my balloons exploded that day. I am completely sure. But if you still say that is what happened, you must show me the proof. Alright, so Mr. Lune had 3 balloons in the air that day. None of them were damaged. Then what was the one that exploded? That face.
But you can't get away with the fact that built on bull cloth, blah 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 blah.
I was surprised to find a piece of fabric still in the seat. Wrong accent. Didn't you search the area around surrounding the stage for clues?
Nah, I'm not into picking up stuff off the ground, mate. Always works out way better diving into other people's pockets instead.
So much for the new career path.
Mind you, the boss was on his hands and knees picking up all kinds of rubbish from the floor. Thing is, though, the cage went crashing into the crystal tower, didn't it? So that's where most of the investigation was going on.
Even so, I would have thought someone from Scotland Yard would have gathered it up as evidence.
Oh, listen to you. You stumble across a bit of a balloon and suddenly you're the best investigator in the world.
Pardon?
Well, you ain't got a badge, have you? Like this one. I could arrest you with this if I wanted to.
I wouldn't put it past her.
Come to think of it, there was talk of some scorching on the ground at the meeting where you had about the investigation.
Coppers at the yard.
Hold it!
There was considerable damage to the stage and surrounding area, wasn't there?
Yeah, some of the coastguards were watching the experiment recording the blast and injured. Good job the old contraption didn't keel over, eh?
I haven't even considered that. It seems there was a great panic after the incident occurred. Nevertheless, police shouldn't have missed a torn piece of the envelope from a balloon. Inspector Gregson can expect repercussions.
Like me swiping all his fish and chips, eh?
The man's sole pleasure. None of this matters. That scrap of balloon envelope means nothing. Niente. The balloons have red and blue zigzag stripes.
Hold it!
Wait, you mean the color is wrong? He has a green balloon right there. Si, senor. I do not have any green balloons in my warehouse. And yet a piece of green cloth was found at the scene. It's unmistakably from a balloon. Well, I do not know what that can be. For the sake of argument, let's say that a green balloon did explode above the stage. We couldn't therefore conclude that it happened on the day in question. Why not? There have been recreational balloon flights all over Hyde Park, operating from before the Great Expedition. One could have exploded on some earlier date. Unfortunate, as I'm sure you'd agree. You don't believe it may have been from some earlier balloon accident that predates the exhibition? Si, exactamente as Senor says. It is not from one of my balloons. Clearly, this little ragazzo from Bohemia is mistaken about what he saw.
Excuse me!
Is something wrong, Master Gotts?
It's Master Wilhelm Gottfried Sigmund Ormstein.
I can't say it. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, something is very wrong. I know what I saw. There was a green balloon there. I swear it. I swear all over Bohemia.
You can speak as much bad language as you like, but it changes nothing. If you do not have evidence, ragazzo, then I must tell your parents to punish you, eh? Perhaps we'll let the judge decide when it comes to punishments.
Evidence? What is this evidence, eh?
To give a simple example, young man. A photograph, for instance, some tangible proof of what you claim.
Well, why didn't you say sooner? I have the photograph here.
Good gracious.
What? I had been up in balloon for a little while, so I was excited. I took lots and lots of photographs of the Crystal Tower, the Bohemian exhibit, of the streets of London, the Hot Heel Cellar, the balloon.
Ah, the instantaneous kinesis experiment. Did you take a picture of that?
Yeah, one picture.
Really? You did take one?
But all I wanted was a ride in a balloon. I was not interested in boring experiments.
Never mind that. Can you show us your flat photograph?
Of course, and then you will see. You will see that I am not lying. I really did see a green balloon.
It's black and white.
Uh. Hmm.
Well, I see you are all too shocked to speak.
Yes, I think shocked is indeed the word, young man.
Yeah, perhaps you can see that was the green balloon from this photograph. But... That is not my fault! It is the fault of the stupid person who made the camera! Vah! Vah!
That was one very bohemian sounding cry.
Vah! Vah!
Very well, the court will accept this photograph as evidence. Photograph of the balloon has been entered. Yeah, I can actually look at it.
It's not my fault. It's the fault of the person who made the camera.
Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. Does it have the stripes or whatever? I don't see them. Wait, there's no one inside. Who's the suspicious person running here? And... he's right here. He's right here. No one's inside. And there's something shooting at the balloon. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, never mind. I'm sure you have plenty of wonderful sepia memories to take home with you. In any case, what exactly did the detective photograph?
Well, he was foot on the day of the big explosion.
You don't say.
When I pressed the shutter release, there was this very loud bang, and a hot wind rushed over my face.
Huh, that means this photograph was taken a split second before the explosion occurred. Well, if you excuse me, this black and white photograph changes nothing. I could not give of the flying fig. Lovely language picked up. As I thought, Mr. Lune's testimony just doesn't quite add up. The young bohemian boy claims to have seen another fourth balloon, but Mr. Lune vehemently denies the possibility. It's hard to imagine the man in charge could be mistaken about the number that were in the air. Still, this inconsistency must tell us something, I'm sure. Red and blue zig stripes anyway. I don't see any red and blue zigzag stripes. Has to be this.
Objection!
No! Damn it! Oh man. Let's do something else. Could it be? It was me. Mr. Ragazzo. Ah, this one. Damn. I'm too, I should read it. Unfortunately, the photograph Mr. Gotts took can't tell us the color of the balloon, but it could tell us something else, something crucially important. What? It shows that the pictured balloon wasn't carrying any passengers. Oh, my goodness, you're right. But surely all balloons would have been carrying passengers. There would be no sense in it otherwise. See, they are for pleasure, for seeing the view. Why balloons are only fly with passengers? Which tells us this pictured balloon isn't one of them. So when the incident occurred that day, there was a fourth balloon in the skies above the experimentation stage. How come there's no music? There it is. The mysterious green balloon.
I know nothing. Niente. I can only tell you one thing.
If this balloon is not carrying passengers, then it was not one of mine.
Objection!
There are legal tradesmen everywhere you care to look. Clearly one such entrepreneur decided to capitalize on the opportunity presented by the Great Exhibition, and managed to operate balloon flights on Mr. Lune's patch without him realizing. See, the competition is trying to steal my profits. I did not notice because of the experimento that went wrong on the stage. This fourth balloon exploded the very moment Mr. Asman was beamed from the stage below.
Right. So them scraps that fell on the ground after them scorch marks, they didn't come from the stage at all. It was bits of the balloon raining down. But because no one was in it, it didn't get no attention.
Mysterious fourth balloon carrying no passengers, silently floating over the experimentation stage.
Objection!
This photograph shows us nothing more. A stray balloon carrying no one and operated by someone rogue trader. Clearly has nothing to do with the case. Come on! Its relevance does elude me, I must say. The court has seen sufficient evidence and heard ample testimony already. The prosecution calls for this trial to be concluded. Really? Have we really got to the truth yet? No, I can't let this opportunity slip away. The jurors' minds are made up, and not in our favor. What else could this photograph tell us? Is there nothing we could learn from it? There's more!
Objection!
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, wait. Please don't give your decisions yet. A photograph from Master Gods may well be hiding one more vital clue. What's that? A vital clue?
Objection!
We're well past the point of mere possibility. It is time for defendants now. So tell the court. What exactly does this alleged clue in the photograph prove? The cause. The color. We can reasonably assume that the pictured balloon was destroyed in the searing heat of the explosion.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was not my fault.
Evidently. Because the bird cage from the kinesis machine materialized in the sky where it had been flying. And the balloon, being filled with flammable hydrogen, instantly and explosively ignited.
Objection!
Wrong. No, that's not what happened. What? It would appear that this photograph requires close examination. Counsel for the defense, you will highlight the location of the alleged clue in the photograph for the court. Of course, my lord. If you look closely, it's plain enough to see, and what's shown is linked to another piece of evidence we have. In a way that leads to an unbelievable conclusion. A clue that heavily suggests that the real reason that the balloon exploded is this kid over here. Come on, get over there.
Take that!
The timing of this photograph can only be described as miraculous. If you looked, you'll notice there's a bright white line that appears to point directly at the balloon. Most likely a ray of light caught incidentally on the film. I'm afraid I could see nothing of the sort. If you look with a magnifying glass, my lord, it becomes clear what the nature of this bright line really is. What? What?
Goodness, what is that?
Just made it a little bit closer.
Undeniably some flash of light, yes.
Oh, golly, do you think it might be lightning?
Oh, but it couldn't have been a finer day.
I believe we may be looking at a fire.
Ball of fire heading straight to a balloon like an arrow.
Indeed.
Even to my aging eyes, it would appear to be a flame of some sort. My word, are you suggesting this flame struck the hydrogen gas that filled the balloon?
Objection!
That's absurd. The balloon would have been 60 feet above the ground at this time. No flame could possibly have reached such a height.
Objection!
Actually, it's my opinion that a particular piece of evidence found at the scene reveals how this exactly what did happen. What?
What evidence? If such evidence exists, counsel, then for goodness sake present it, man.
What evidence explains this mysterious streak of flame that appears to have directed directly for the balloon? Crossbow.
This was found hidden at the foot of the small, ornamental tree near the scene. Good lord, is that a crossbow?
An arrow dipped in oil and satellite could have been shot from this weapon, sending a flaming arrow straight into the hydrogen-filled balloon.
Are you suggesting that crossbow was used to deliberately?
Blimey, you're right. That streak of light in the photo looks just like an arrow, doesn't it?
Then, the explosion of the balloon, it was
Very likely the result of a flaming arrow from this crossbow igniting the hydrogen gas inside.
No!
I'm really liking this trial.
Order. Counsel, this is an extraordinary supposition.
If the aim was to cause the balloon to explode, the shooter could have used a gun, of course. However, there's an obvious reason why that would have been out of the question.
The noise of the discharge, of course.
That's right. By using a crossbow, the projectile could be fired at the balloon silently.
Oh yeah, if someone had shot a gun off at the exhibition grounds, it would have caused a real panic.
But with the big explosion, there was a very big panic anyway, no?
I don't like this. I should be pleased to have found a plausible new explanation for all this, but something feels wrong.
Objection!
Do you understand the implication of what you're saying, my Japanese friend?
If a flaming arrow did indeed hit the balloon, then obviously it would have exploded. And if the birdcage appeared from this cloud of smoke that ensued...
What? Wait a minute. What are you really saying here? I don't get it. Was the birdcage beamed up into the sky after all? Or what?
My goodness me.
Now I understand. That's what that sinking feeling is about. I think there's a good chance that the birdcage was actually concealed inside the balloon all along.
What? Did I just hear that correctly, Counsel?
There's no going back now. The horse has bolted. I knew it! Let's assume that the birdcage was hidden inside the balloon from the start. On stage, when the experiment was started, didn't he have a twin brother? The birdcage in the instantaneous kinesis machine disappeared in a cloud of smoke. At that moment, the flaming arrow was fired from the ground, causing the green balloon to explode and drawing the attention to the spectators in the sky above their heads. From amid the smoke, the hidden birdcage then appeared to fall and crash into the crystal tower. I think you'll all agree it's entirely plausible that what I just described is the real truth behind the miraculous experiment carried out that day.
This is... good grief.
Objection!
This is ludicrous. What you've described is no science experiment. It's child's play. A contemptible display of stage magic.
Hey, we have a magician.
But Mr. Sholmes and Iris said the experiment was a scientific impossibility.
In which case, this is the only way to explain what happened that day.
In any case, the victim's body was found inside the birdcage in the crystal tower. The instantaneous kinesis didn't take place. How do you explain that?
If I'm put in a word,
As a man of magic myself,
such apparent discrepancies can easily be explained by some simple deception. Juror number 3.
all that would be needed is a doppelganger.
Someone who looked very similar to the victim, Mr. Asmund,
And having this other man appear on stage in front of the show as a bodily double.
Ah, yes, of course. So in fact, Mr. Asmund must have been inside the birdcage that was concealed inside the balloon right from the start.
Objection!
That balloon would have been filled with hydrogen. Anything inside it would have been scattered to four winds when it exploded. No one would have ever embarked on such a risky venture. Not necessarily. The explosive force of balloon gas would very much depend upon the mixture ratio.
Juror number 4.
Flying balloons are rarely filled with pure hydrogen, but a mixture of other gases such as helium as well. Helium in its own doesn't explode, but by controlling the mixture ratio, the explosive force could be altered. The mixture ratio. Obviously, the victim's body would have suffered from some burns. That would be unavoidable. but not to such an extent as to render this whole obscene charade impossible.
So weird having the juror testifying. So, everything that happened can be explained logically and scientifically. The explosion that engulfed the stage at the start of the experiment was no accident. It was all part of an elaborate deception to make it appear that instantaneous kinesis had occurred.
Well, goodness me.
If we accept that this is what happened, it means that the victim, Mr. Asman, was never present on the public experimentation stage to begin with. In short, he couldn't have been killed by the defendant, who was on stage in full view the entire time. Yeah, this will be very hard for the prosecutor to counter. Lord Benzig's can't credibly maintain that Professor Hairbrain is a suspect now. Hold it! Huh? I knew it.
Mr. Naruhodo, I appreciate your efforts, thank you.
Professor!
But you could stop now. Just keep your mouth shut, please.
Sorry?
What's all this about, Mr. Hairbrain? I, Albert Hairbrain, hereby confess that it was me who stabbed Mr. Asman. Yes, it was me with my faithful friend and partner, Andrew the Screwdriver.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Nah. He's just trying to prove his experiment.
Order. Defendant explained his sudden confession.
Objection!
Professor Hairbrain, what are you talking about?
It's what I've said all along. I must protect my hypothesis and my precious machine. You stand here and claim it was all a trick, all an elaborate prank, but where's your proof? No, you'd have to examine the machine if you wanted to prove it, but then it would be all over. My beautiful hypothesis would be laid bare. I mean, the indignity of it.
It's clear that you drew the plans for the experiment, but you didn't actually build it. It's quite conceivable that you were duped, Professor. If you'll just tell me, I can prove.
Baroque! Yes. I'll cooperate. I'll do whatever you say. I swear it. So please, ensure the Special Dispensation for a Scientific Equipment Act is adhered to and protect my creation.
Nah.
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice at this critical juncture. Here's to my learned Nipponese friend.
What?
In his upcoming attempt to clarify the defense's position in the light of the accused's confession.
Huh?
Do you intend to formally assert that the experiment was nothing more than a conjuring trick? Because the moment you do, the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act that protects the professor's invention will cease to apply. The prosecution will then demand a rigorous examination of the machinery involved in order to establish the truth.
Yes.
However, we here acknowledge that the machine is genuine and instrumental in the victim's murder. And any chance of investigating will be crushed and the confidentiality of the professor's hypothesis preserved. Well, counsel, what is the defense's official position on this matter?
What Professor Hairbrain, my client, actually asked of me was to prove that the explosion on the stage was an accident and protect the secrecy of the hypothesis. There's no way to do that without implying the professor's guilt. Do I protect my client's life by asserting his innocence, or do I uphold the client's request but see him condemned? Either way, I can't avoid betraying his trust. Innocent? That's your job.
You've been silent long enough. Isn't talking your trade, my learned friend? Or has all knowledge of English escaped your confused Nipponese mind?
Mr. Naruhodo! There's no escape here. I have to make a choice. But it's an impossible one. I have to give up on something, but what? The defense asserts that defense instantaneous kinesis machine was in fact... Kinda wanna do both. I wanna do trick first. Conjuring trick. No, I can't say it. My client places faith on me. I can't just let him down. What must I give up on is not a question you have to ask yourself here. It's what can I protect?
Hello again, Mr. Naruto. It's been far too long.
What? Sasato-san! But what are you? Hey-ya!
My first Sasato takedown in 6 months. There'll be time to talk later, Mr. Naruto. For now, we must concentrate on the task at hand.
We're just working out not what I have to give up on, but what I can protect. Professor Hairbrain. Ah, yes. Yesterday you told me that science is the pursuit of the truth. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Okay, I just reloaded and then tried again. It was the same thing. So I'm just gonna cut all that out. Well, my job is to pursue the truth too. Yes, of course. And personally, I believe that you didn't stab Mr. Asman. I think you've come to realize something yourself too, haven't you? That your experiment and the machine you built with the victim are questionable. The truth behind that is what we must both pursue now. So, you finally opened your eyes. What? And as for you, Albert, you can't ignore this any longer. Ugh. Having heard my learned friend's assertion, don't you have something to say?
Baroque.
Lord Van Zeeks.
Gosh, I've never heard him speak that way before.
In truth, there's one thing, something I've remembered that's of relevance. What? The day it happened, just before I began the experiment, I saw a man near the stage. A man holding that crossbow. Beg your pardon? Was it? It was the kid. It wasn't the kid, he was the balloon. Professor! Did that man have any distinguishing features? What did he look like?
Taller than me, and thinner than me, with straight hair, straighter and wider than mine.
Let me see.
One less lens than me too, a monocle, a rather stylish black monocle. But one thing in particular will help to positively identify the man. You see, I know him very well. After all, he's the engineer who built my invention.
What? He built the machine?
That's right, Mr. Asman introduced him to me a year ago. He's a man by the name of Murderer Enoch Drebber.
I don't get the pun.
Enoch Drebber!
Does this name mean something? Members of the jury seem flustered. Not a name any scientist wishes to hear. The man's an abomination. Not a name any conjurer wishes to hear either.
Who on earth is he?
I'm afraid this isn't the first tale of this nature that I've heard in scientific circles in connection with that name. There's talk of other flamboyant experiments that turn out to be nothing but stage trickery in the end. Obviously, the rascal is after the government's research grant money. When magicians are in need of money, I've heard of them resorting to these underhanded tactics. Some acquaintances of mine, with experience of such things, have mentioned Enoch Drebber's name before. The man is both an engineer and a magician. Yes, dealing with an unparalleled confidence trickster here. That's Enoch Drebber for you. Huh.
So, it's true then. My invention, my great machine, was just a grand illusion?
Considering what we've heard about Mr. Drebber's character, sorry to say that sounds increasingly likely. Even though no one else believed it, I wanted to. I wanted to believe that the machine would function exactly as my hypothesis predicted. Which makes why you were so opposed to it being investigated, I presume. I knew if the machine was examined in detail, its construction would give away my hypothesis. Obviously, I didn't want that to happen, but at the same time, I knew that if it was found to be nothing more than a trick, than a work of deception, then everything I'd worked towards, all my research, all my dreams, my whole life would be over. I was terrified at the prospect. So you really had no idea then, did you? What the true nature of the machine that was built, the true nature of Mr. Drebber. I never questioned anything. I didn't want to question it. It's entirely possible that Mr. Asman and Mr. Drebber were working together to use you as a means of fraudulently acquiring the research grant money. When I announced my invention to the crowds that day, it was the finest moment of my career. I pulled all the levers and turned all the dials in exactly the way Miss Drebber had described. When the smoke suddenly started billowing out, I panicked. I didn't know what was happening. I don't really know how the whole illusion was made to work. I don't know anything anymore. Let me confirm one final point with you, Professor. Do you now consent to the prosecution submitting the necessary paperwork to release your invention from protection afforded by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Yes, please go ahead. I'm very sorry. It would appear that we shall have to suspend proceedings for the remainder of the day now. Lord Van Zieks. My lord. The court has newly been made aware of another party whose involvement in this matter is critical. Yes, Mr. Drebber. Gather information about the man if possible. I should like him served with a subpoena. With pleasure, my lord. Now, counsel for the defense. Yes, my lord. When we reconvene, I shall be looking for one thing and one thing alone from you. Evidence. The defendant is innocent of the crime for which he presently stands accused. I understand. Good. In that case, this court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. Yeah. Another double investigation. 23rd of October, 1:36 p.m. The Old Bailey, Defendants, Antechamber. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? I'm
so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. Trust me, I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry.
You really have no idea, Professor? What Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? But what he was really constructing? Naturally. The machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it. Alright, in that case, I won't say any more. Now sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. We must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Oh, it's afternoon? Well, thank you for doing so much for me. I have the rest of the day to investigate. Hey, Sasato's back, I forgot!
I'm so sorry for arriving late. I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo.
Arriving late?
Did you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know that I had arrived.
Postcard? What postcard?
I hid it from you right now, so it would be a surprise. God damn it. Well, did it work?
I was surprised alright, especially when she threw me on the ground.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that I sort of slipped out.
Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in the future.
Susie's train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. But he made coachman really whip the horses hard so she didn't miss the whole trial.
Yeah, just the end of the trial.
I was watching from the gallery for a while, but at the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself.
Oh, okay, she was in the gallery. Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh,
Having you at my side of the court gives me strength I needed to win. So I'm, delighted to see you back in London.
oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruto. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you.
Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikadoba not protest?
Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at the home, shall we? No, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. Can't wait.
Susato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy she made me feel at the time, but despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. To be continued? Okay. Alright guys, I'll end up the episode here, and next time we'll continue with the investigation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. See ya. Bye.